And we are live. JT here. Welcome to the huddle. The huddle is where I sit down with successful people from the world of sport and coaching. It's to learn more about their journey to greatness. Why do I have these conversations? Because success always leaves clues. I want to take a moment to thank you, whether you are watching on YouTube or on Facebook, or whether you're listening to the audio on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me and my special guest today. And here's my friendly reminder to you. The mind is like a parachute. It works best when it's wide open. So my challenge to you is to go all in on this conversation, to remove any distractions and get laser focused on the here and the now. And I guarantee you, you will gain a valuable nugget of wisdom that will not only help you succeed in sport, but more importantly, in the game of life. I've been looking forward to my conversation with my special guest today. We had an opportunity to meet a little while ago, and before we hopped and hit record and got kicked off, I was mentioning to him that I've always sort of admired his energy, his enthusiasm, just the passion at which he plays the game of life. My guest in the huddle today is a York Lions football coach. My guest in the huddle today is Brian Jones. How are you today, brother?
Very good, very good. Thanks for having me, JT. Good to see you, and happy to be on the podcast and have a conversation with you.
Absolutely, brother. And before we get rolling here, I just want to take a moment to count my blessings. For me, this is a daily practice. There are days where I do it better than others, but I do find the days that I count my blessings are, filled with a little bit more, joy and peace. And I'm a firm believer the biggest blessing you can give anyone is your time and energy. So again, I just want to thank you for blessing me with some of your time and energy here today, brother.
Yes, sir. Likewise, JT. Appreciate the opportunity to share this energy together and have a conversation, and hopefully that listeners as well as myself can get something out of this, and as well extend that to you, and hope that this is a great conversation, and appreciate our conversation off air already. So look forward to carrying this into this interview or conversation, I'll call it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the first things that I like to do in the huddle is to remind people that life is a game and games are supposed to be fun. I had a coaching colleague and a great friend that always used to remind me that, hey, we all have these things that make us unique, different, so you might as well celebrate them. So I'm curious, what's an interesting fact that maybe a lot of people don't know about you that you'd be open to sharing with our community today?
Yeah. I would say that like a lot of people, I'm a big fan of music. I dabble in electric guitar. It's kind of it's an easy way for me to kind of just be in my own thoughts, and I like to play along to music, and just kind of jam out by myself, and that's kind of like my zen time essentially. And so I do some of my best thinking in those moments, and so that's one thing that a lot of people don't know about me. I don't play in front of a lot of people. That's between me and me. So it's definitely something that I do to kind of calm myself down and do some of my best thinking. So a little bit of music talent, not much, but a little bit.
Yeah. I love that share. Again, part of why that resonates with me is we took my daughter to her first gymnastics meet, and as a high quality athlete and coach, you understand that things don't always happen as planned, and she kind of felt a little stuck at a time. And then again, we went back to, hey, what music will help you feel calm and confident right now? And so it really was at top of mind. So I love the idea of, using music to help, create a greater sense of calm and peace in our life. I'm curious though, has music always kind of been a thing for you, or is this something that's, has sort of developed in the last few years?
No, I would say that music has always been, a valuable piece for me, just to set my mind. Kind of my pre-game ritual was I would literally listen to the same song at the same time of every game. So when I would go to warm up, I had my I would go to the field prior to a game, and I'd walk around, I'd walk the field and listen to one song that would kind of get me, situated for the pregame, and then I had the same song that I'd play uh, prior to going, into our kind of our last meeting before we head out as a team. And like, I kid you not, every time I would get to play that song, I literally get goosebumps because I knew that it was conditioning of my mind to, be in the position to go out and do what I've worked on all week. And it was kind of like a set playlist and a set mindset to go out and perform and be the best version of myself.
Mm. I love that. And I love the word you used there, like this idea of rituals. And again, for you, as a high quality athlete, right? Like you played at Acadia, then you were blessed to play in the CFL for 6 years. And now you're embarking on your next adventure as a high quality coach at the U Sport level. Um, the idea of rituals and sort of that pregame ritual, is that something that you've just always understood, or was there a great coach, teacher, mentor who really helped you sort of understand the importance of, for better lack of term, getting the mind right?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's kind of something I stumbled on. And I think that, by nature, humans were creatures of habit, by nature. And I think the more that you can put yourself in a position that comes with familiarity. And I mean, you play, like you said, I had an opportunity to play at Acadia for 4 years, as well as play in the CFL for multiple teams for multiple years. And I think that creating that commonality of, that mindset and carrying that wherever I went. And luckily for me, it was something as easy as music, to try to set my mind in a place to go out and be successful. I think was fortunate for me that I was able to pick that up early in my career, and just kind of have that mindset to go out and perform and have fun. I think that was a big piece of what I enjoyed about the sport so much. But definitely something that I kind of stumbled upon, and then I just carried it forward. I still kind of do that as well to set my mindset, whatever I'm doing. And now it's kind of, music has fallen more into a Zen part. But a really big part of my life for sure.
Mm. So it sounds like music helps you get into flow. It helps you get in the zone, if we're using a sports analogy, and it really just helps you, again, sort of dial it down and sort of create that greater sense of calm and peace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I'm curious, as you mentioned, you had a career and you played at the highest level as a high quality athlete, and then you've transitioned into coaching. So I'm curious, what inspired you to pursue coaching as your vocation once you were done your athletic playing career?
Yeah, it's a good question. To be honest, I didn't know that if I'd be coaching. If you would have asked me, 5 years ago, are you going to be coaching? Like, do you have a desire to coach? Like I probably wouldn't be able to say that that's what I would have been doing, right? But life works in strange ways, and it was kind of during, I guess it would have been 2019 or 2018. In the off season, I was working with a guy that runs camps in the GTA, and it's basically was asking for current pros to come out and coach kids. So I had an opportunity to go out and do that. And when I went out and coached, I was just like, whoa, like I had this passion of that. I was still playing, but when I was coaching, I was like, this is this is really fun. Like I really enjoy this opportunity to teach these kids and kind of give them that slight edge that they're looking for, right? Because there's a lot of kids that want to be coached, they want to be coached hard, and they want to learn, right? And so I felt like it just was a very positive experience for me. I didn't know how my journey would come to this point, to be honest. Like again, I think it's there's a lot of great coaches out there, and it's, you definitely have to earn your stripes as a coach. It's a I got to the opportunity where Coach Craney was looking for a special teams coach, and had the opportunity to come in and to do that. And it was fortunate for me. I mean, I had an untraditional route where I was given an opportunity early after my playing career, and luckily for me, I knew that I wanted to be involved with football. I didn't know when it would be. I thought it would be kind of more of a at a more of a minor level. I didn't know if I would be at the university level right away, but it's, again, when opportunity strikes, you have to to make your mark, and just kind of took that full on. And it was definitely I definitely had my my welcome to OUA football opportunity when we played Guelph in the preseason, which is, for anybody that's a special teams coordinator, is preseason is like, it's it's a trial by fire, because you got an opportunity where you basically have 90 athletes that you gotta coordinate. So it's about double the roster, and then half of the team, you want to get looks at your guys that are going to be full-time teamers for you for the season, but also those guys go down at half because they're gonna play the first half. So then you're playing a game with 90 plus athletes, and in a simulation you have 50 injuries. So you're just like, you're scratching names off your list like crazy. And I actually kept that depth chart after the game, because after I did that, I was like, what, if I can coordinate my first time as in a preseason game, and I think I might have had two situations where we had not enough men on the field or something like that, and I was just like, if I can get that done, then I know that I can do it, right? So that was kind of my welcome to the U Sport moment, and it was definitely a hectic experience, but it was a fantastic opportunity, and it's I've loved it ever since. We had some good opportunities, did some good things last season for the 2022 season, and really enjoyed my time. It's a fantastic opportunity and platform to just teach the life of football. I mean, it's there's so many lessons that are in this game, and it's such a great learning opportunity, and football's been fantastic to me. And now I'm in a stage where I'm a professional coach, and I have an opportunity to also lead the next generation of men and the next generation of leaders, which then I hope will go and lead the next generation as well. So very, very fortunate of the platform that I have, and definitely don't take it lightly. And really excited about the years to come. And it's been a challenge, but it's also been welcomed as well, because I believe that anything that's worth having in life comes at a price, and the price is high for success. So that's something I always preach to my guys. So that's kind of my story to this point.
I love it, brother, and I appreciate you openly sharing your journey. And it was interesting, I heard a couple things there as you were sharing. One, when I was speaking to Coach Griffith a few months ago, he talked about this idea of like this willingness to pay a price, right? Like this idea of sacrifice. So it's really interesting that both of you sort of touch on that, is like, sort of asking yourself upon, again, from a place of objectivity, like, what am I willing to sacrifice to be great, right? Whether it's, as a football player, as, as a student athlete, as a significant other, right? So it's a great question. So I love that both of you reference that. Second thing that I really heard from you was this idea of, you were clear on what you wanted, and that was to stay involved in football. And what I want to sort of draw to attention to people is you were open to the how, right? Like everything you require is going to show up exactly as you need it, no sooner, no later. And for you, like you were referencing, the opportunity to coach showed up at a different time while you were still in your, when you were still a professional athlete. But you being open to the how provided then an opportunity for you to sort of fall in love with coaching and mentoring young men. And now look at you now. Here we are a few years later, and you're doing it right professionally. So that's amazing, brother.
Yeah, it's for sure. Like I really, embrace the platform that I have. And I'll say this much of it is about football and this much is it about leading, right? There's, like I said, there's so many lessons. And I think that, some of the conversations that I have with young players that are looking to play football at the university level is, and the conversations I have with parents, the reality is that of the kids that we bring in, probably around 5% are going to have the opportunity to play pro, and 95% are going to have, to go out and be leaders and work in the workplace. So for me, like, obviously I've had an opportunity to play at the highest level, but that's not what I'm geared to do, right? My gear is to, like, what am I going to work on? The 5% that have an opportunity to play pro, or the 95% that are going to go out and be, business leaders, execs, successful individuals, people of the community. And how do I gear them to be leaders and great men and great husbands, and really just make their mark on the world. And I think that that's kind of the way that the vision and lens that I see it as. Like I said, this much is about football and this much is about leading. So that's the kind of lens that I look at. And there's so many, again, there's so many ways that football has shaped me and the person that I am. And I think that kind of my vision was if I have an opportunity to share that, then that's what I'll do. And I think that, I've been gracious enough to have this opportunity to do that, and definitely want to use that opportunity to expand on the things that I've learned and share the successes and the failures. And I think that that's one thing that I try to do as well, is be a vulnerable leader and tell our guys about, successes as well as the failures that I've had. And, it's not always a clear cut road. And I think that now with, social media, it's very easy to kind of like want the, you want the success now. And there's something to be told about, the old fashioned route, and, kind of still instilling that grind and that grit towards getting what you work for. But it's football is, it teaches you, humbles everybody.
Yeah.
Right. The old saying is everybody loves football, but football loves nobody. And I think that that's just a relationship that, that I've had with football, and, you got to respect it. And I think that that's kind of plays into the game as life as well. At some point everybody gets humbled. But how do you come back? How do you stay resilient? How do you continue to push forward? Those are all questions that you get answered during football, and hopefully that you can carry those on to your regular life and your professional as well as your family life.
I love what you shared there, and why it resonated with me is, like, you're very clear that football is just a vehicle to teach greater life lessons, right? It's to empower people so that once they go in the business world, they can be successful leaders. Then, once they get into their marriages, they can be successful leaders then, or once they have kids, successful fathers, right? And it's really interesting to me that just how clear you are on understanding that football is just a vehicle. You talked about this idea of resilience. Are there any qualities that you have noticed that really separate those that achieve, average results, whether on the football field, whether in the game of life, versus those that consistently achieve great results? Like, are there certain qualities that you've really noticed during your time as a high quality athlete or as a high quality coach?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think an important piece and something that I regularly try to do is just check in with yourself. And I think that, the reality is there's so many distractions in life. And depending on what your goals are, like, I think it's very important to write your goals down and tell people your goals. And that's a daunting task to tell people, your dreams. There's an old saying our chaplain at Toronto he used to say, you want to make God laugh, tell him your dreams, right? So, or tell him your plans. That's right. So, it's one of those things where I feel like, as much as it is a daunting task to tell people what you want to do, it also holds you accountable to what you set out for yourself. And I think that being realistic with your goals, as well as, obviously, you have to be real with yourself, but as well push that envelope by telling people. And you're kind of, by doing that, you sign your name to what you set out for yourself, right? If your goal is to be, an academic all-Canadian, then tell people, I want to be an academic all-Canadian, so that when people see you, not doing the things that you need to be, you're not, you say you're not in the library and you're messing around and you're not taking care of your school side of it. Well, then some people can check in with you and say, you told me that this is what you want to do. Like, it's got to mirror your actions. And, one of the sayings that, I had an opportunity to play under Coach Cummins, and one of the things that he used to reiterate to us was, the man in the mirror, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, if you are who you say you are, and you can look yourself in the mirror and do what you said you were going to set out to do, then you can live with that, right? But again, just communicating to people your goals, and that's something that I encourage with my guys, to tell me what their goals are. And but also reverse engineer that. Like, how do you get to the finish line? Like, what are the necessary steps? So just I feel like those are qualities, like, again, just writing out exactly what you want to do, as well as tapping in with yourself and making sure that you're on the right track. And ask people for help along the way.
Mm. I love that idea, right? Of sort of being real with yourself, right? And like you mentioned, checking in with yourself, right? Like being, and I think the interesting part is doing it in a way where you're objective, right? Instead of judgmental. So I love this idea, like you talked about, this idea of great thoughts must consistently align with great action. And then the byproduct is great results. So I love how you sort of align that, and it's understanding that it's filled with ebbs and flows. Some days you'll hit it out of the park, other days you won't. But that's like the game of life, right? And I have found from my experience, working with high quality athletes and coaches, that high performers typically bounce back when they make a mistake, then they can pop back up a lot quicker and faster than other people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think one other thing I would say as well to that, and if you spend any time around some of our guys, I think one of the things that I try to do, and this is one technique that was taught me by Jeff Reinbold, who's a special teams coordinator for Hamilton, is just the power of, there's been other coaches as well. I think Jeff was definitely the most consistent of, like, hammering it away when I was with him in 2019. But just the power of mental conditioning. Like, again, one of the easiest things that I do with our guys is, if you say next level around them, everybody's going to say fast. Like, that's what I do. I say next level, everybody says fast. And it's, in the realm of special teams, it's just like, always look for work, right? So, but the value of it isn't necessarily the saying, it's just the understanding of how you can condition your mind to think positive thoughts, right? And it doesn't have to be just next level fast. It can be, whenever something happens to you, like, what is your mental cue to check back in? And that's something that was very important to me to express to our guys, because it is it is so true. Like the amount of the time that it takes to just mentally check in with yourself and refocus, mentally refocus. It can be easily as a quote. It can be easily as, you know, music. Like those are opportunities for you to check back in with yourself and make sure you're on the path that you need to be. Excuse me, I don't know why I just went off. Sorry about that. But yeah, so those are the things that I easily are able to express to our guys, and you know, there's opportunities to learn within that.
Yeah. I love it. I love how you talk about this idea of mental conditioning, right? Because, you know, again, you've been in the world of high quality sports, high performance sports for many years. And it's interesting, there's a lot of emphasis placed on the physical skills, but then like again, are we tapping into the mental skills, right? The spiritual skills, right? The emotional skills, to actually help people get to their next level, right?
I'm telling you, if there's York guys listening to this right now, I know in their mind they just said fast, right?
Yeah.
That happens to me too. I'll be watching a TV show and somebody says next level, and I'm like, fast.
So I'm curious, like as you have started to embed and emphasize the importance of mental conditioning,
Yes.
what benefits are you seeing around, you know, your student athletes, your coaches, the program in general? Like, have you noticed any shifts starting to happen?
Within the mental conditioning?
Yeah, just like that, like the ability to sort of, they hear next, right? That next level, right? And then just giving them those sort of triggers, those check-ins to reframe, for better lack of term.
Yeah, I mean it's a fun thing. Like again, like we'll literally be like, say, in an offensive meeting room, and Coach Shake will be talking about, you know, working a double team up to the next level to the linebacker, and guys will be in the meeting room and saying fast, right? So it's gone beyond the special teams meeting room, which I love.
Yeah.
As a special teams coach, I love that. But you know, it's I think that with the mental conditioning, it's just like it just sharpens that response time, right? And you know, on the football field, I love to see it, but I think that, you know, it's it's just a catalyst to everything that you do, right? So if it's easy as saying next level fast, I mean, what other ways can you put that into your life to check back in, right? So you know, to give an answer for you, I'm not sure. Hopefully that's carrying over into the classroom. Hopefully that's carrying over into their personal lives, and they can take that and realize it. Really, I think what I'm trying to do is just reemphasize just the strength and the ability of the mind, to condition thought based on what you hear and what you see, right? So and it's a little fun activity. It's so silly, but it has such power in the way that, you know, a little phrase can condition you to think positive thoughts, and that can literally have so many avenues in which you can take it. But just to understand the power of it, you know, it's a simple thing that I loved as a player, and you know, I had to instill it when I came in as a coach. So
Yeah.
that's really what I, you know, I'm a I'm a function, and I'm a product of all the coaches that I've been involved with, and luckily for me, you know, I've been coached by some fantastic individuals, fantastic teachers. You know, just to name a few, like, you know, I've been under Mark Trespin, Orlando Steinauer, you know, Jeff Reinbold, Chris Jones. Like, these are all names that I've had an opportunity to be coached by, and you know, and I think that I'm a product of all of those individuals, and I take pieces that I liked, and I kind of build that into the Rolodex of, you know, how I like to be coached as well. And, you know, and, you know, I really try to apply that to our guys, and, you know, hopefully they, you know, take something home from it, right? Because again, like referring back to what I said, I'm trying to train the 95%.
Yeah.
I'm gonna still adhere to the 5%. Like, if you're telling me your goals are to play pro, like I feel like I owe it to you to treat you as such, right? And I'm gonna push you in that direction, right? If you tell me your goals, you know, that's how I'm gonna hold you accountable, right? And I
Mhm.
think that it's definitely a daunting task to tell a coach that's your goal is to play pro, because I think that that changed the dynamic. So I feel like my bandwidth as a coach, because I've played at the next level, um, I'm able to, adhere to the 95%. But if you tell me it's go time and you want that 5, like
Yeah.
I can tell you exactly what you need to do to get there. Right. And
Mm.
that's, that's a valuable piece in and of itself. And it's like I said, it's a fantastic opportunity. It's a fantastic platform, and really, really thankful for the time that I've had and the short time that I've had as a coach. And
Yeah.
it's been fantastic. Really has.
Mm. I love what you shared there. And part of the reason what I love about it was the fact that you said, hey, you can help and serve the 95% that will, play university football and then move on to the next phase of their journey. And then you can also help and serve, those that have professional football aspirations. So I love that again, it's like you understand that, you know, really helping people to be clear on where they want to go, I think is a testament to you. The other thing which you were mentioning, when I asked you, what benefits have you seen by, doing this, next level fast? I look at it as you've used the word fun a few times in this conversation, right? Like this fun. And what I really heard there was this idea of you're making them fall in love with the process of being great, right? Of just trusting that it's going to lead them somewhere great. So to me, it really sounds like you are getting them to have some fun. Hey, when we've been in those kind of meetings, right? Sometimes, you know, they are not always the most, let's say, engaging, but it's good that you can make them smile, make them laugh, and it reminds them that, hey, this is supposed to be fun, what we're doing here. So
Yeah,
kudos to you,
yeah,
brother.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. That's really what I try to do is I try to make it a fun experience. And I can't give all my gold away, but my
Yeah.
guys, there's a character that I bring out called Miami Jones. I can't go any
Yeah.
further than that, but something that Coach Reinbold had done when I was there was just he had an excellent platform for just peer-to-peer recognition. And I think as a
Mm.
special teams player, and I mean, majority of my career at the pro level was at special teams, and the reality is that special teams isn't, it's not always the most glorified, sexy position, right? It's it's a back alley fight, right? It's mano a mano, man on man, win your matchup, and it's a little different than than the typical offensive unit or defensive unit, right?
Mm.
But in and of itself, I think that the more that you can give those players that ball out for you on special teams their recognition and consistently reinforce, the efforts that they have, and let their peers know what the work that they're doing, it just makes it that much more of a positive experience. Makes you want to go hard for your teammates, because my thing is if you work hard and you put the effort out there, like I'm going to show the team what you're doing, and that's something that Coach Reinbold did a fantastic job at. And just player recognition peer to peer, and that's something that I try to bring to York as well. And it's had a positive input, I feel like, and look forward to carrying that forward as well.
Mm. I love what you shared there, and the reason, I guess I'll sort of to give you some context here. We've seen a massive growth in our game, especially in this province, right? Coming out of the last couple of years or the last few years, right? Like you're looking at the start of 2020, Football Ontario, 12,000 members, now pushing over 25,000. So it's interesting how right there, I mean, doubling your numbers, it doesn't take a math elite to understand like that's a sign of growth. You and what I love is you reference this idea of like, creating this culture where we acknowledge, we praise, we celebrate each other.
Mhm.
How important do you think that establishing that culture is in order for us to continue to take the game to the next level, unintended?
I'm telling you that there's a York guy listening to this, and
Yeah.
they're going to be fast.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I mean, like, you know, again, I feel like football and life are so synonymous with with just life, right? Like it's just, I don't know, I just kind of said the same thing, but like everybody wants to feel loved, everybody wants to feel appreciated, and it goes a long way when that happens. And I think that the simple praises of, of success and um the value of sport is, the reality is especially in football, at the end of the day, there's a winner and there's a loser. All right. And I think that both sides of that come with a lesson, right? Right. And it's for sure there's points and you're gonna lose, right? And but how do you create those, how do you take an L and turn it into a lesson, right? Like an L just left out there, that's a loss, right? There's nothing to you. But if you take that L and turn it into a lesson, then you continue, then you start to build something, right? Then you start to build those blocks and create those teaching tape moments and reinforce behavior. And I think that for football to come back in Ontario, it's fantastic to see. That's the route that we want to see. That's the path that we want everybody to see and continue to grow this game. I think it's a fantastic game. It teaches you so much about life, as I said multiple times already. But I think that within that as well, the game is meant to be played and it's meant to be played to have fun. And I think that if you, and part of the fun and the enjoyment is feeling that love, feeling that locker room mentality where everybody in your room is your brother. They might come from, the wealthiest family. They might come from the lowest of lows. They might come from middle, like middle of the field or middle class. And that's the beautiful thing about football is, the barriers to entry to play this game is lower, which is beautiful because then you have so many people from different cultures, different backgrounds coming together and playing. And that's one of the things that I loved about the sport is, right, you could, like, I had an opportunity to obviously play pro, and I'm mixed in rooms with guys from down south Louisiana, you guys from New York, you guys from LA, like just different characters, right? And I've met some hilarious people that have gone on and been lifelong friends, right? So football is one of those sports that it's unique in the fact that no one athlete looks the same. I mean, you got offensive linemen that are completely unselfish. They're the only position in football only position in sport that starts away from facing the ball, right? Every other sport, you start by facing the ball, right? So completely unselfish position to play offensive line. And then you have receivers that we want all the glory. We want to have our name in the paper, right? And then you got kickers that they're basically on the sideline and then come out and are expected to nail a 35-yard field goal when they've been sitting on the sideline for the last 10 minutes, right? So it's like you have this culmination of people that come from all different backgrounds. They're all expected to do different things, but at the end of the day, they resemble a team. And that's the beautiful part about football is it's a team sport. You have to have multiple facets within it to win a football game, and so many things have to go right just to do that. But at the end of the day, it's like you get to experience an opportunity to what other sport can you have 55 guys play and all play different positions, right? Like it's a beautiful sport, it's a beautiful game. And just to teach and the life lessons that come with it, I mean, it's a fantastic, beautiful game that teaches you so much. And I love it. I love football.
I appreciate you sharing, brother. And again, what I really heard from you was, our diversity is our strength, right?
Yes.
You take a look at the inherent just nature of our game of, it doesn't matter what the color of your skin is, what your socioeconomic, what gender you identify with, there really is a place for everyone. And
Yeah.
two, I love the analogy you actually, when you said this, how can you take the L and turn it into a lesson? I thought, okay, the L is small L.
Mm-hmm.
But the big L is the lesson. So I kind of just thought of Oh my goodness. Coach gave me a great teaching analogy. Okay, so the L, let's acknowledge the L, but what's the big L? What's the lesson that we can take from this? So hey, see these conversations, we start to discover new things about ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, brother, I want to be respectful of your time and energy. What can we do to help and support you? Again, you're part of helping to grow this next iteration, this next adventure in York Lions football. What is the best way that we can support you and the program moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, York is definitely, we're on I'll say a route to rebuilding this program. And I think that we're trying to change the culture here as well. And part of the things that we're trying to do is just continue to reach out to inner city in Toronto. And I think that part of building a successful football team is really kind of winning our backyard. And that's why we did the Toronto outreach this past winter. And I think that was hopefully that the football community can see those outreaches. And that's definitely going to be part of our mantra moving forward is to continue to help grow football in Toronto. And again, I believe it's a fantastic sport. It's a beautiful sport. But yeah, I would say that continue to support for us and root for us. And again, I think that this is just the beginning of something special. And love to see football continue to be to come back. Like I have to give credits to U of T. I mean, they've made fantastic strides. I know that they're our rivals, so I know that's not a great thing to say, but you got to give credit where credit's due. And I think that hopefully that we're on that route as well. It's great to see competitiveness back in Toronto. And I know that for me, being an East Coast guy, I grew up in Nova Scotia. I'm still learning very much about football in Ontario. The game has continued to come back, and love to see the competitiveness. I had an opportunity to scout at OFSA this past fall and see those programs come down and play a competitive brand of football. So for me, it's continuing to grow the sport. Again, like I said, 5% is about, the game itself, and 95% about is leading the next generation of men. And that's really the way I look at it. And, if we can win some games along the way and win some championships, I'm all for it. Right. So I got a couple more spots on my fingers to win a couple championships. So, that's the goal at the end of the day as well.
Yeah.
But super thankful for the support that I've been given so far, and continue to make these connections like with you, JT, is super important for me as a young coach to outreach and try to help people and try to grow this game. Because at the end of the day, like if we're button heads and we're just so concerned about ourselves, like then we're not paying attention to what the whole goal is to grow sport, right? And I think that that's really the foundation. Is we want to continue to grow football in Canada. I mean, everybody loves to look at the guys that have gone down to the NFL, but let's also pay respect to the coaches that have helped build that, right? And continue to grow the knowledge. And I know for myself, and I'm going on a tangent here, but I know this much about the game of football, right? And I think that growth mindset is going to mold me and continue to learn. And I had an opportunity at East West to sit down with some coaches and pick their minds. And again, I know this much about the game of football, so just picking brains and continuing to grow. And hopefully that transpires into our program at York. And again, just outreached arms. I want this to be a football team that everybody can fall in love with, and hopefully that we can continue to grow this program and have future success for our student athletes. That's our number one goal.
Absolutely, brother. And again, what you shared there really reminds of like why we're doing it, right? And that's to bless more people with these lessons that we have all taken away from our time in the game. And now it's our responsibility to sort of pay it forward, right, to the next generation, like you mentioned. Brother, I want to take a moment to acknowledge you. I want to acknowledge you for the great man you are, the great son, the great teacher, coach, mentor, but more importantly, the amazing human being you are. The one thing I've really gained from this conversation is just how deep your passion to help and serve others along their journey is. It's like, it's who you are. It's you embody it, you're living it. So I just really want to take a moment to thank you for providing me that reminder today.
Appreciate that, JT. Really do.
So folks, Coach Jones dropped so many valuable nuggets of wisdom that will not only help you succeed in sport, but more importantly, in the game of life. But as I like to remind you every week in the huddle, knowledge is potential power. It's a consistent application of great knowledge that actually creates great results. So my challenge to you is to take one of these valuable nuggets of wisdom and go apply it to your life today. And as I like to remind you every week in the huddle, you are deserving of greatness. You are worthy of greatness. You are greatness. And my only ask from these conversations is, if it resonated with you, if it touched your heart, then please share it with a friend, a loved one, a teammate, just someone you think that would benefit from hearing these simple ideas. And the more people we have listening, understanding, and applying these simple ideas to their life, the more blessed this world will be. As always, I love having these conversations with you in the huddle. Have a blessed rest of your day.